Let the Lord give you peace that is unshakable. Yes, my prayer today is that He fills you with a passion for righteousness. Lord, my prayer today is that Jesus will guide you through every storm. Yes, every storm. Lord, every storm. This is my prayer today.
I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out, righteousness. Welcome, everybody, to the Trust in the Lord Hour. I am your host, James David, for 16 years, well, longer than that, but teaching, trusting in the Lord with all thine heart, lean not to thine own understanding. How is everybody doing today? We pray that all is well for you. We also pray that you had a great Thanksgiving. We prayed it all. I had, Elizabeth and I, and the church members, we all had, with the local people, all y'all are members, I suppose, had a great Thanksgiving and didn't eat too much, which was quite wise of everybody. Solomon's University Part 2 is where we are today. I love what's happening with this this teaching. I've been doing this Proverbs chapter 3 for 16 years, and we have barely scratched the surface of the depths of the wisdom of Solomon in his writing. And I love what's happening now. Now we're attending Solomon's University. That's right. He's our teacher, and me, I'm just a teacher's aide to teach us all the fundamental things about life, nation building, health, wealth, and a whole lot of other great things that Solomon. And this is not going to be my thing. It is fascinating, literally fascinating, what we've been able to learn. Listen, we're at Solomon. We're at Proverbs chapter 3. Starting at verse 11 now to verse 20. And Proverbs chapter 3, verse 11 says, despise not the chastening of the Lord, neither be weary in his corrections, And let's see what it says. My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, neither be weary of his correction. I got it right there. And the engineers got it as well. Put it up there, Miss Engineer. This is where we are at present in terms of what we're doing. But Solomon's University, so here's the idea. Sister Kane, here's what you want to do. We're sitting in the university, right? And we're not going to, this is not Harvard, this is not Yale or Princeton or New York or Columbia. This is Solomon's University. You get the idea? Oh, come on now. No, and obviously we're going to be, quite seriously, I do pray that as a result of our teaching as such, that we would be qualified in the general areas that Solomon is teaching, and that our intellectual strengths and economic understandings would exceed those who graduated Yale or Princeton or Harvard or Oxford or Cambridge. You get the idea? I'm quite serious about this. By the way, let me ask you, thank you, Mr. Engineer, have any of you noticed even just a small incremental change, or at least in terms of the growth of 20%, which is pretty, I suppose, aggressive and ambitious? Have any of you noticed some change towards that, attaining that 20% increase in your life? Have you noticed any change? Or better yet, well, not better yet, but even so, have any of you noticed areas where you really want to focus on growth and increase? Have you? I pray that you have. And I would think that since we started with 40 days on the first 10 verses of Proverbs chapter 3. And now this is day 4 of Proverbs chapter 3, verse 11 through 20. And we're only going to do 7 days of this, then we're going to move on down the line on the teaching of the Proverbs. But let me share something with you. Which I perceive has that Solomon has taken from his father David, and what I have taken, because I've now, after all these years, just realized that the same thing that Solomon asked for when God came to him in Gibeon at night, God came to me in Brooklyn House of Detention at night. The same thing that Solomon asked for is the same thing that I asked for. Now, the Lord didn't give me at that point in time in the Brooklyn House of Detention all of the stuff, the things that he told Solomon, but I see it unfolding as my life and my ministry increases. That as I do the ministry, I come upon the wisdom and the understanding, but I have to push forward in the ministry. So here's something that I want to share with you. Help you take a greater look at yourself. Now we're going to get into the law that Solomon taught, the economic success, the health and happiness, the peace. We're getting all of the truth. We're going through all of that. I'm just very excited, trying to accomplish as much as I can accomplish today. But here might be some things that you might want to, that I think are the traits of Solomon. Now, I taught this going back several years ago. But I believe it comes from my meeting with Jesus. Here, okay, let me tell you what it is. How you are with your Father is how you will be with the world, with every position that you are given. How you respond to your Father, how you respond to chastening, how you respond to instruction. Now listen to me very carefully, my son. Listen to me very carefully, my son. Listen to me very carefully. How you respond or responded if your father is not alive, how you responded to your father is how you will respond to your pastor, how you will respond to the world, how you will respond to your employer, how you will respond to circumstances. My son, despise not chastening of the Lord, for whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth. All right, we settle in. How you respond, and this is pretty much a male, if you will, area of discussion. I'll get to the female aspect of this later on. If not, then the next time we get together. But in fact, what I've done in days gone by, well, let's just jump right ahead onto the female portion of this as well. How a man responds to his father growing up in the house will be how he will respond to the authority in his life, no matter where he finds it. No matter where he finds it, how he responds to that, how he responds to his father's authority will be how he responds to everybody else's authority. Now, why is this important? My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord. So now, if you are chastened by your father and you despise it, you're going to despise any other authority. You're going to despise it when the boss man tells you to come in on time. You're going to despise it because that's who you are. It has nothing to do with the boss man. It's how, now if your father corrects that, if your father sees that you got a bad spirit about you and you despise his chastening, if he takes out the rod and corrects that, and it may take a few years to get that out of you, now you're ready for the rest of the world. But if he doesn't get that out of you, you're going to respond to every employer, every authority, every police officer, every pastor, everybody that's in charge that has some authority. You're going to respond to them the exact same way you responded to your father. Are you listening to me? And Solomon's teaching up in here now. My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord. Be not weary in his correction. You follow me? So let me just jump ahead to I did this teaching in a similar fashion. Usually when I counsel people to get married, I'll have the man and woman there, the young woman and the man, whoever it is, the man and the woman. And so I'll say to the woman and the man and the woman in particular, I say, listen, how the way you responded to your father is the way you're going to respond to your husband. See, if that spirit of honor of your father, respect of your father, help of your father, if that spirit of honor and respect and obedience to your father is in the woman, I would say, then that's how she's going to be with you. That's how she's going to be with her husband. That's how she's going to be with him if that's the way she was with her father. I'll come back to that. But the way a man is with his father is the same way he's going to be with every single authority in his life. And his father, if he honors his father, if he's obedient towards his father, if he's respectful towards his father, then he's going to be that way when he meets a police officer. Or he goes to work and he has an employee, has a boss man, has a pastor. He's going to respond to the pastor the same way he responded to his father. It's just a pattern. That we don't have to worry about so much. What we have to worry about, what we want to work on, of course, is for you to look and say, well, I despise the chastening of the Lord, my father rather, so now I despise. I would point out most church people, they don't want to hear anything about rebuke. They don't want to hear anything about God's rebuking them, God correcting them, God chasing them, God cursing them, mainly because they probably were raised in a home where the father and mother did not have the ultimate chastening power to correct them. Now remember, we're at Solomon's University, is that right? Please listen to me. Please listen to me. Because it isn't too late. Let's say, for instance, you say, well, Pastor Manning, I heard what you said the other day about how you raised your hand. You were 16 years old. You raised your hand to fight your father. I did. Well, I did. It's very painful. It's still painful now, even though I got it right with him. He received me. But the fact that I did that. Now, the fact that I did that makes it all the more poignant for me to teach it. And so other people will not do the same thing. Or the other people know you've done something similar, that you can be released as God has released me. But what I want to say to you is this, is that here at Solomon's University today, that might be one of those, wait a minute. I heard you teaching Pastor Manning about how you can get 20 more minutes. Everybody else only gets 24 hours out of a day. But now what Solomon said, the length of days, I'm now going to get 24 hours and 20 minutes. I'm going to live longer. I'm going to have a better, greater day than the average person, no matter who they are, because of Solomon's teaching. Great. But here's the thing. That this might be a key. The Lord told me to tell you this. This might be a key to understanding what might be restricting a large portion of your life is because you need to go back and see where that how you responded to your father. It says how you respond to the words of God. I said the pastor earlier, I said the employer, the police officer, the man of authority, but ultimately how you respond to God. He's the ultimate authority. And when you see these people running around here talking about we're no longer under the law, they don't want any authority in their lives. And you got plenty witch doctors and shysters calling themselves pastors and preachers who tell people you're not under any authority anymore. You see where we're going with this? All right, so here. I'm coming back to that. But let me just ask the question, have you noticed any change in your life? Do you feel like it's possible that you can actually increase your life by 20%, that you can get 20 more minutes out of every day? Do you, because if you haven't done, if you don't feel that you've accomplished it yet, do you believe that you can? And all you need right here, all you need right here, my friend, is the belief. You may not have the success. All you need right now is the belief. And by the way, always apply that principle. This is more teaching from Solomon, from Solomon's University. All you need is the belief. And you may not have it yet, but all you got to do is believe. If you have not accomplished yet, if you haven't bought that house yet, you haven't haven't gotten married yet, you haven't graduated school yet, all you need is the belief. That belief is just as good as the thing. That's right. So all you need is the belief. Do you have the belief that you're going to increase 20%? Then you're good to go. I got to move on to the next student now. I've corrected your paper, and I'm going to give you an A+ in Solomon's University today. Here in Solomon's University today, I'm going to give you an A+, because if you got the belief, Pastor, you say, Pastor, man, I believe I can grow by 20%. I believe I can increase by 20%. I believe, well, then you're good to go. Let's see what the next student's going to say. So your increase, and some of you may have noticed something like maybe this is so small, may not be 20%, but incrementally you probably feel that, or at least I pray that you feel that somehow or another that things have changed for you. I want to also, we talked about, or at least I taught from Solomon's University, that we need to work on our patience and to increase our critical and hard decision making. It is those difficult situations many times that God brings into your life to challenge you, because without that you probably wouldn't rise to the level of where you need to rise. So critical and hard decisions are very important. Never take the easy street. Never take the easy way out. Narrow is the way and straight is the gate of those that truly find their lives. And if you're going to find your life, you got to lose your life first. You got to lose all that before you can find your life, Jesus says. So when you're making, and oftentimes you may not be at the level of where I pray to get everybody through this teaching in Solomon's University. I pray to get you somewhere, because you're going to have to understand you made the easy decision, so you got an unimportant life. You made all the easy decisions. You took the easy way out. And so you got an unimportant existence. You are unimportant. You're not because you took the easy way out. It's those hard and critical decisions, Solomon says, that makes us the people of note and of power. So we're going to learn exercising more patience. Remember the story I told you about the young bull? He was up on the hill, and there was a bunch of cows down in the valley. And so the young bull said to the old bull, hey, he told the old bull, hey, let's run down there to the valley where all those cows are and have sex with one of them. So the old bull looked at him and said, I tell you what, why don't we do this? Why don't we just walk down the hill and have sex with all of them? Anyway, y'all forgive me that. if that was a little bit, a little too much for some of y'all, because some of y'all can't handle Pastor Manning. y'all got to grow up to handle Pastor Manning. Anyway, so patience is what that example says. And you got good things come to those that wait. The old bull should have said to the young bull, good things come to those who are patient. It's what that parable explains. But also today I want to hear is to help you to target the increases and also the ancillary. Now, ancillary is a fancy word that says, well, if you stick your hand into, let's see, what was a good example? into a mud puddle because you want to pick up a dime. You drop the quarter in the mud puddle, right? So you stick your hand down in the mud puddle to pick up the quarter. You'll get the quarter, but you're also going to get some dirt. That's ancillary. You're going to get some grass. That's ancillary. You'll get some water. That's ancillary. You might even get some bugs. Your goal was to get the quarter, but the ancillary, the things that are going to happen as a result of your going for the quarter, ancillary at Solomon's University. Write that down. Put it in your dictionary. You just learned a new word here in Solomon's University today. What you want to do is that you want to target, if you will, certain items, and then the ancillary things will happen as a result of that. And you want to start, I tell you, can I share this? Don't y'all tell anybody outside our group here. Don't share this outside Solomon's University, right? I have targets of becoming I'm laughing because I want to say I want to become a super saint, right? Now, when I say super saint, I don't mean somebody who ain't never sinned, who's always, you won't even look at something sin. You see, something that look like sin. I never thought about sin. Never had them. That's not what I'm talking about. That ain't what I'm talking about. But I do want to become a super version of James David Manning. You hear what I'm saying? I want to become a super version of the lessons I've learned. Super version. A super Negro. Oh, I think I need to pray. But no, now I tell you this. See, here, a lot of people want to have super bodies. That's good. I'm not interested. People go to the gym, they work out, they running. Years ago, people were running. They call it everybody running and running. I've never done that. Everywhere I go, I walk or drive a car. I don't do nobody running. I did buy an exercise machine. I got on two or three times, and I pull those things back and forth, the pedaling, you're running in treadmill. I said, this ain't for me. If I go gain weight, Lord help me, but I ain't doing this. But some people want to have a super body. But I'm simply using that because I want to become a super version of James David Manning and the things that I've learned. That's what I'm talking about. And I pray that you would join with me in such. Let's take a break, all right? We got a lot to try to cover today. Let's get into the Christmas spirit today. It's a couple of days. Well, December is coming up right in just a moment. And one of our, Dr. Hartfield, was singing on Saturday. So I want you to listen to a little bit of what she was singing, and Joy to the World, I think it was, one of those songs, and the musicians that accompanied her.
Sing, choirs of angels, sing in exaltation, sing, oh
All right, I thought you needed a bit of a break there, just to get us into the Christmas spirit here. By the way, you need to shop at Bethelite Marketplace. I heard a lot of y'all are shopping at Amazon and went out there with Black Friday and everything, and spending all that money. Didn't spend none with Amazon. Didn't spend none with Bethelite Marketplace. You need to do that, because what you'll do is that you'll help us in our foreclosure expenses, fighting this great battle that we're fighting, and also you'll get some great gifts and some great items. So go ahead and do that. Now, at Solomon's University, what I've discovered in the Lord after 16 years of teaching this, we've opened up what is now known as Solomon's Space. It's sort of like an air pocket, a spiritual air pocket, or a spiritual gravity place. The Solomon Space allowed us to step into an area that is a holy spiritual place that is attributed to Solomon and his wisdom and his wealth. And it's like for 16 years we've been mining, we've been digging into the spirit world. For 16 years we've been probing into the spirit world, and we've probed deep enough in 16 years of daily probing. We've reached a place now where there's an opening. It's like a light at the end of the tunnel. There's an opening, a spiritual opening, and you can't see it with the naked eye. You can feel it with the heart and read it with the spirit. It's called Solomon's Space. And so as a result of that, now we're now able to walk into it and attend Solomon's University. It's like we were going back, 3,000, 3,500 years ago, and actually sit down in Jerusalem with Solomon in his house and let him teach us. It's what we are now experiencing now. And a lot depends on, my being open and available to the Lord to be in Solomon's Space and to bring you into Solomon's Space as well. As if what we're doing now is like a time travel, if you will, like Ezekiel did with the wheel within the wheels. He traveled back and forth from Persia, Babylon, back to Jerusalem. So we're in Solomon's Space now. And what we're going to learn is the law of God, the law of Moses, and economic success, which is very important. By the way, going back to the super bodies, in the name of Jesus, I want all of the staff and all of the members far and wide, I pray an excellent power of health upon you, because we may have to serve in this body another 100 years. That is quite possible. We may have to serve in this body another 100 years. Did you hear what I said? Listen to me. We may have to serve in this body another 100 years. So I want to pray super bodies, super minds, super whoever you are. Jesus doesn't come back the next 100 years. He keeps us alive. We keep preaching Allah. We may have to use this body for the next 100 years, so I'm praying over your body. Remind me when you talk to me, say, Pastor Manning, are you praying for me? Because you could be 90 years old now and still gonna need that same body at 90 years old for another 100 years. You follow what I'm saying? You follow what I'm saying? That we may need to serve another 20 years, 100 years. I don't know. But I do know the prudent thing to do now that we're in Solomon's Space at Solomon's University is to ask God to strengthen our bodies. Not with physical exercise, getting on a treadmill. I ain't doing that. You can do it if you want. I didn't say you can't do it. If you want to do it, go ahead and do it. Then knock yourself out. But I'm talking about God putting a spiritual, the Bible says the children of Israel were out there in the wilderness for 40 years, and their shoes didn't grow old, and their clothing didn't tatter. For 40 years, they had on the same outfit. They wore the same thing for 40 years. Won't no, Walmart out there or Saks Fifth Avenue or, won't no clothing stores out there, TJ Maxx. Won't no clothing stores out there in that wilderness. They wore the same thing for 40 years. We may need to serve in these bodies for the next 100 years. Now, my prayers are for you. And if you ask me, I'll pray for you. so we'll have a crew to serve. But we're going to learn the law, since we're here at Solomon's University. We're going to learn economic success. And Solomon said, here, let me tell you where I'm getting this from. Solomon says, I think it's verse 2, he says, if you keep the law, length of days and long life will God give you. Thank you, Mr. Engineer. Thanks so much. For length of days and long life and peace they shall. So you may need to serve in this body another 100 years. You don't know. You don't know. You may have to serve in the body that you have right now, because you're not going to get another one till you get your mansion. But if Jesus doesn't come back in another 100 years, you may have to use this same body to serve him for another 100 years. So Solomon says length of days and long life. On first reading of this, probably, a person who is not necessarily a professional read that verse and say length of days and long life ain't that the same thing? No, length of days and long life, not the same. Length of days is getting the fullness out of every day. And long life is many, many, many years of life. You see, and then of course there's peace. So you may have to, listen to me very carefully now. Listen to me very carefully. God's allowed us to go here. God's allowed us to step into his Solomon's University. And I'm not saying this trying to be, what's the word? I don't know, hyperbolic, hyperbole. I mean this. That body that you got right now, that you're in right now, that thing, you may need to, a lot of people's bodies been thrown into the graves. Sometimes they try to put people on a steel casket so body won't rot. It's going to rot anyway. But, Jesus took Adam out of the clay of the ground, and he blew into his nostrils the breath of life, and all that, the organs, your liver made out of. By the way, I want to give God the praise. I know there's something I was supposed to say. I want to give God the praise. Matron Rainbow Farr has returned home from the hospital, and she didn't have to have a liver transplant. Praise God, hallelujah, and boom, shakalaka, she came home late last night. Praise the Lord. And if you're on my Twitter feed, you would have gotten a note that she came home. There she is, Matron Rainbow Farr is now back in her, well, she had to do some blood work today, but praise God. And I spoke to her about what we learned in Solomon's Space, is that you were created to live and not die. And she quoted that back at me. So thank God that she's back at home and back doing her, so thank God she didn't have to have a liver transplant. Praise Almighty God for that. But, God put the liver, the spleen, the stomach, they put all of that in us, and all of that became alive when God blew into our nostrils the breath of life. You may need the body that you got right now. You may need the body that you have right now for the next 100 years. You see. So God teaches us through Solomon, he teaches about law, economic success, health and medicine, and super living. And also, there's some philosophy there as well. Now, let me say this to you, and then I'm going to take a break because I got some other things I need to talk to you all about the Bethelite Marketplace. But as I said earlier, that how you responded to your father is the way you respond to the world. If you honored him, respected him, then that's how you're going to go through the world the same way. No matter who it is, who the authority is, you're going to go through the world the exact same way you responded to your father. And I tell when I'm counseling couples to get married, I say to the man, I said, now, ever how your wife responded to her father, not her mother, but how she responded to her father, that's how she's going to respond to you, because that's how she looks at male masculinity and she looks at authority. You know, so I tell them that. There ain't no getting around it. Nobody escapes that. And a large part of the problem with the Hamite people, especially young boys, they don't have a father in the house. Their fathers are in prison or sleeping on the street. So you're going to have a lot of young Hamite boys shot down in the street. All the politicians, all the liberal, all the left, all the fascists, they're going to jump up and down and say the police is mean. No, and I'm not saying their police is a saint. What I am saying, the problem is that these young boys don't have a father in the house, so they run up on the police and they got an attitude. That's how, and the police is like, he don't have to take that. So how? Please remember that. The Lord told me to tell y'all that today. Solomon said it. Solomon said, "My son, despise not the chastening. When I whoop you, when I chasten you, don't get an attitude. Long as I'm doing that, that means I still love you." What Solomon said. My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord. Now here's one other thing, and then I'll have to, for just a moment, I'll be right back. Well, let me do this. Let me do this break, and I'm coming right back. Don't go anywhere. I'm not through with y'all today. Solomon's University.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. So what does that mean? It's time to purchase your Christmas gifts from BetheliteMarketplace.org, where we have fine china, beautiful glassware, unique dishes and vases, musical instruments, jewelry that is sure to make you dazzle, wonderful apparel, and so much more. So, hurry today and place your order and enjoy a 50% off for a limited time. 'Tis the season to purchase your gifts from Bethelite Marketplace. Call 877-777-0734 and place your order today.
It isn't just about making bent legs straight. It's about enabling these children to re-enter society. Someday they can marry, they can get a job, they can work. It really, truly gives them their life back.
Their medical photos that we take kind of show it all. Their pre-op picture, none of them are smiling and they all look really scared. And then in their post-op picture, they have the biggest smiles on and they're so happy. I mean, it's only 2 pictures, but you can see that a journey has happened.
They never even dared to dream before, and now suddenly it's reality that they can dream and that these dreams could actually come true.
And as of right now, you are a dangerous man. You've got a master's degree in theology and truth. And it's not to say that they had it all figured out, but you have a master's degree in truth. They want you silent. If they can do it one way, get you diabetes, get you cancer, and get you to die off.
You think they'd try that?
Pardon?
You think they would try injecting me with cancer or diabetes or something of that nature?
Well, that's eventually how they want you to fall off. They don't want to get caught pulling too many bodies out of a certain area at one time. That's why they're setting up the generation gaps so one generation can't communicate with the other.
All right, so here, as we're reading now Proverbs chapter 3, and we've learned so many things from Proverbs over the past 16 years. And now we have entered into Solomon's space, and after entering into Solomon's space, privileged to attend Solomon's University in the spiritual dynamic to learn all these fundamental principles about how to have a great life, how to have economic success. And don't forget, you may need your body for the next 100 years. So remember that. And by taking hold of the word of God, the first thing that Solomon promises us in Proverbs chapter 3, after verse 1, is he promises us length of days and long life. And you may need this body that you have right now for the next 100 years. You may need your body. So don't throw your body away and don't abuse your body either. I told you I don't do a lot of exercise, but so here, by increasing our lives by 20%, which I think is very, very aggressive and ambitious to think that we can increase, and we can. Here's something else I want to say to you, is that I've taught this previously as well, is never lie to yourself. You should never lie, period, general. But the one person you should never lie to, well, you should never lie to God. But people that lie to themselves will listen to this, will also lie to God. Now remember, and this is the addendum to that teaching, remember I told you before, how you are with your father, that's how you're going to be with every other authority in your life. And if your father is a poor authority, you're not going to be prepared for the rest of the world. So fathers, you got to be strong. You got to chasten your sons. You got to correct them. Because if the father is not strong, then the boy or the girl is not going to see authority in an admirable way. And they're going to think it's not an important part of the building blocks of life. But how you are with your father is how you're going to be with every other authority. But here's what I want to say to you now, because I taught that in the first segment. What I want to say to you now is never lie to yourself, because check this out. If you lie to yourself, you will also lie to God. Yeah, you will. You will lie to God, and you will steal from God. Every liar is a thief. Every liar is at the same time a thief. But listen, never lie to yourself. Never tell yourself a lie. Or never, here's what you never tell yourself the truth. Let's say, for instance, let's say, for instance, your boss said something and you said, well, I don't, and you got fired and you're going to blame him. Perhaps the biggest liars on planet Earth today are black people. And I don't say that's because I'm trying to be mean-spirited or ugly or against black folk and all that other kind of crazy stuff that people, but they never tell, the biggest liars on planet Earth today are black folk. And they're also, because of here in America, they say that the white man didn't have the authority to bring them here as slaves. But he did. He had biblical authority. So they lie to themselves and they lie to God. They go to God and ask God for help, but they lie about what God said to Noah. And my job, by the way, parenthetically from another lesson, my job is to confront that with the truth. That is a dangerous position to be in. I'm in a dangerous position because my job is to confront the lies that black folk tell each other, the lies that black leaders tell each other, the lies that black house Negroes tell one another. My job is to confront that. That is dangerous. To confront the lies that black people tell themselves, that is dangerous. Here's another thing. So something happens, right? And you blame somebody else for it. You blame somebody else for something, but really, if you look at it, you're the reason why it happened. You ever been there? I can't think of an example right now. I just can't get something to come to mind, but something will come to your mind. Something happened, it was bad, and you blame somebody else for it, but really you're the one that you're the problem. You're the problem, right? That's deceitful. You're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself. You're telling that somebody else did this and that because of this, that, and the other. But, I wish I could come up with an example right now, but you know what I'm talking about, right? You're lying to yourself. And the person that lies to themselves will then go get on their knees and lie to God. I mean, there's some, and I say this, and I know people get a little squeamish about this, but they're church full of liars. They're mega churches full of liars. They lie. They lie to God. They lie to themselves. They lie on their bosses. They lie on each other. And they lie to God. Liars. A church, a mega building full of liars. But they don't realize that they are. And thieves and robbers. Jesus said this. He said that, Moses told y'all that it's wrong to commit adultery. You know that, right? And he said, but listen, it is wrong. But I say to you, anybody who looks at a woman and desires to have her have committed adultery with her already in his heart. That's right. That's right. So we have to realize that our hearts are receptacles of deception. So Solomon tells us that we should despise not the correctioning, and we would then learn how to even correct ourselves. We'll sit down and go before the Lord and say, Lord, I got fired because I was a liar. I got fired because I didn't have the right spirit. That boss man wasn't mean to me. Okay, he wasn't a saint, but it's me, Lord. It's me, oh Lord. It's me, oh Lord. I'm the one that's the problem. And I'm just going to stop blaming the boss man. I'm going to stop blaming this and that and the other. It's me, Lord. It's me. Now you're talking. Now, Lord, now you're probably going to get a response from the Lord. But you're going to talk about, hey, they did me, Lord, oh, man, come on now. And what's worse is that you step outside of reality and people don't really know who you are because you don't know who you are. You're not the true you. You lie to yourself. So know that. Now listen, I got to wrap this up. But I sent this out in a tweet today. I taught trust in the Lord, Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5. I taught trust in the Lord with all thine heart, lean not to thine own understanding, and all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. I taught that for 15 years, those verses from Proverbs chapter 3. Remember a few moments ago I told you, I said, now, if you believe something, it's as good as having it. If you believe something, you're calling those things into being. Now, it's good to have the physical manifestation to it. Praise God, praise God, praise God for the physical manifestation. But if you believe, that's all you need. Belief is your ticket. Belief is, if you believe it, so here's what Solomon said. Solomon said, trust in the Lord with all thine heart. And lean not to thine own, if you will, understanding. And what I'm saying is that if your trust in God never fails, now come up close. I want you to hear this. Come up close. I want you to hear this. Listen to this. if your trust in God never fails, then you will never fail. Oh, you didn't hear me. This is from Solomon's University. This ain't my word. Want me to read it from the Bible? I'll read it from the Bible. It says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart. Lean not to thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. All you got to do is trust. If you trust, you're good to go. So if you trust God with all your heart, not your own understanding, not your own fears, not what other people are afraid of. Don't let other people put their fear on you and tell you this can't be done, that can't be done, this, that, and the other. And lean not to your own understanding, but trust in the God. None of your tricks, none of that. Just trust in God. Trust in God. I taught it for 15 years. If you trust him and your trust never fails, you will never fail. You'll never be defeated, and you'll never beg bread. Trust in the Lord. Trust in the Lord. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart. Lean not to thine own understanding. If you trust him, if your trust never fails. Now, if your trust fails, a good chance you're going to fail. But if your trust don't fail, Job said this. I tell you, Job is somebody to talk about, to be sure. Job said this, though he slay me, though I lost everything, though he slay me, Job said, though he slay me, Job said, I lost everything, I'm still going to trust him. And the devil couldn't take Job down. He tried everything through the kitchen sink at Job. But Job's trust did not waver. And I'll say the same thing to you. I don't care who you are, young, old, what color you are, what color you ain't. If your trust in God does not fail, then you're good to go. If your trust in God doesn't fail, then you won't fail. Job said it. Job said, I don't care what they do to me, what he does to me. God can whoop me up and down Main Street. Yet will I trust him. Yet will I trust. I will maintain mine own ways before I'm not leaving God. So I wanted to be able to say those things to you. It is a blessing for us to be able to come to this place where we can, I can now declare Solomon's University. It just don't get any better than this, I don't think. I've been probing Proverbs chapter 3 for 15, 16 years now. And it's just a good place to be. And I'm so glad so many of y'all decided to come along with me. And by the way, I'm thankful to many of y'all who, we have a lot of new listeners now. I don't know what's going on, but maybe the algorithms are allowing us to get out a little bit more. And but I thank God for the fact that we have a large number of people that's logging on, listening to us, this where we are today. However, we've been able to come to this space with the Lord. And I'm giving God the praise. Mr. Engineer, do we have the Bethelite Marketplace? What did you have there before we take us to the top of the hour? I wanted to be able to get the Bethelite Market. I wanted to get Dr. Leah in, but I think I've changed my mind about that. I wanted to get Brother Honaker in. And I think I changed my mind about that. Did I get Brother Honaker? Where's he at? I'll see Jesus? Okay, all right. All right, everybody. Remember, you'll need these bodies for the next 100 years, so watch out. I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out, righteousness. Well, if you have funds to give Christmas gifts, go to the Bethelite Marketplace and do some shopping there at the Bethelite Marketplace and give people gifts from that very, very exclusive website that we have where you can give people some really, really classy antiques and gifts and stuff that just have a lot of meaning to it rather than buying somebody a sweater or a pair of socks, or an umbrella or giving them whatever it is, give them one of these very special gifts we have at the Bethelite Marketplace, right? And the other thing is that we have a lot of china, a lot of tea sets and a lot of beautiful pewter and bowls and glasses and just a lot of beautiful stuff, antiques. And you should buy something just to decorate. Look at those spoons and those pewters, you know. You could buy that collection of pewter cups, you know, or that coffee place, or those spoons, and for Thanksgiving, and really bring the people over rather than drinking out those glasses you've been drinking out, or those mayonnaise jars. Y'all don't know what I'm talking. People don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway. But imagine setting your Thanksgiving table with those beautiful pewter and that beautiful silverware there, right? And it'll just be a beautiful thing. Oh, this is really nice. And we have beautiful platters and a lot of beautiful decorative bowls. Go to the Bethelite Marketplace. Go to the Bethelite Marketplace for your shopping for Thanksgiving, for your dinner table, and for Christmas. Do that. And not only will you be a blessing by giving somebody something that's really meaningful, that will be around for a while. You give somebody a sweater or a pair of socks, they wear it once, and they'll take it back to the store and change it and get the money, and you won't even know that's what they did. But this is something that can be in family heirloom. You follow? Don't discount the Bethelite Marketplace. Go ahead now and do some shopping there and have a beautiful Thanksgiving. Do some shopping. And now some of those stuff has already been sold, but you'll find out. And you'll have give somebody a beautiful gift, some beautiful jewelry. By the way, look for those women who are on our mailing list outside of New York City and New Jersey. You're going to get, in about a week or so, 2 weeks, you're going to get a beautiful necklace called the Mercy and Truth necklace. But my friends, use the Bethelite Marketplace. That beautiful pewter set of cups will be a great place. You put a little wine in it, put some, iced tea or something in it, you know. Oh, I say you don't drink wine. Okay, all right, okay. Well, Jesus did. Anyway, so this is just some beautiful stuff to make your Thanksgiving dinner, and surely do your Christmas shopping. You'll catch two birds with one net. One is that you'll have a priceless gift that will last for hundreds of years, and you'll also help us fight the foreclosure that is beaming down on us every day as they're trying to take our building. Look at all that beautiful jewelry. That is some really beautiful stuff, really beautiful stones, and some great artwork to that. Use the Bethelite Marketplace. Go to our website, click into the Bethelite Marketplace, and you'll be there. All right.
One day I will say Jesus. One day I'll see the angels too.
I'm the Lord's servant. I'm asking now is to give truth a chance. All I've ever told anybody is the truth. Now, just because you didn't understand it doesn't mean it's not true. And I'm asking people to give truth a chance.
All around, you hear the lies being told from the top. Every time you turn around, it just don't seem to stop. When you're ready to move far beyond that same old dance, all you gotta do is listen, yeah, and give truth a chance. Give truth a chance. Everybody, give truth a chance. Come on and sing it. Give truth a chance. Give truth a chance.
I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. Welcome, everybody, to the Manning Report. I am Manning, the quintessential American, broadcasting from our studio located in our church building. And our church building is located in the community formerly known as Harlem. But God Almighty has changed the name of this community to Outlaw. That's what God said, the land where the people shall walk barefoot, because the land is holy ground. We pray that you all had a great Thanksgiving. Look at the skies behind us, Brother Miller. Look what's going on. Here in the Big Apple, blue skies with some nice clouds. I've looked at clouds from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's cloud illusion I recall. I really don't know clouds at all. Y'all know that song? So listen, there's been a lot of if you will, rhubarb going on over the past 3 or 4 days now since Kanye West and Nick Fuentes had dinner with Tribulation Trump down in Mar-a-Lago the other day. And I'll tell you, the people on CNN and MSNBC and the Washington Post and the New York Times have got their hair on fire. I can smell Don Lemon's hair all the way up here. That's right. Jake Tapper, Wolf Blitzer, I can smell their hair all up and Rachel Maddow's hair. So all their hair's on fire. You ought to see them running around. They're all going to need wigs after this. It's the World Cup, what was happening with the World Cup? I thought everybody was going to be interested in that. Even I was watching the World Cup, and in America and England came to a draw. So I said, all right, okay. Then America and Iran started fighting one another spiritually, But no, man, that closed when Kanye and Fuentes met with Tribulation Trump down in Mar-a-Lago, all other stories fell off the radar screen. So I want to say a couple things. A couple things I want to say about this is that now the first thing is that the Trump don't really give a damn what y'all in the media. And Trump said he didn't know Fuentes. Come on now. But Trump don't really care about y'all. The word damn is in the Bible, by the way. Mark's Gospel, chapter 16, verse 16. So don't say I'm up here cussing again. If your Jesus used it, I can use it. So let's get back to what I really want to talk about. So everybody's, Kanye West, and they say this guy, they now permanently label Kanye, and he calls himself Ye now, as an anti-Semite, right? And then there is this Nick Fuentes guy who they said is a Holocaust denier and an anti-Semite and a racist. And he ain't old enough to be. He ain't about 24 years old. It takes a little time to be all those things at once. Anyway, the point of the matter is, listen, I want to tell you, Wolf Blitzer, you and Jake Tapper and Rachel Maddow and all the rest of y'all, Trump don't really care what y'all think about him meeting with Fuentes, whether he's a Holocaust denier or Kanye West. Trump don't, and I'm not Trump's spokesperson. I'm not here promoting Trump, but I would like to tell you, he just don't care what y'all think. In fact, probably what Trump did is just to get y'all all in a tizzy, because that puts him back in the news rather than talking about the January 6th committee and Liz Cheney and what they're saying about Trump. That's all y'all can talk about, and he knows that. Listen, whether you like the man or hate the man, whatever, you got to give him his due. The man knows how he's a master at media. He's a master. He knows how to get all y'all jumping up like a bunch of cats on a hot tin roof. You don't care what y'all think about whether he met with Fuentes or not, or Kanye West. He really don't care. But here, I think there's some things that I think I need to pull your coat to, and I promise not to inflict myself upon you any further after I do this, and that is this, is that Trump's base, the people that support Trump, they don't care either. They don't condemn this. They don't see anything wrong with the fact. One fellow wrote to me the other day and said, listen, Trump's supposed to be the president of all the people, not just the one everybody, not just the one that they like, the CNN likes, MSNBC. Trump's supposed to be the president of all the people. I said, okay. And the other thing is that Trump knew that the liberal media was going to go berserk, him meeting with a so-called. But he doesn't care. His base don't care. Trump is not. Trump said, he told y'all several years ago, you're not paying attention to him. But I'm not promoting Trump. I'm demoting CNN. That's what I do when I tell you that right now. MSNBC, Washington Post, New York Times. But Trump told y'all some time ago, where were you? He told you I could step out on Fifth Avenue, shoot somebody, and I would not lose one reporter. It made me shot a reporter. He said I would not lose one supporter. I'm not suggesting Trump shoot a reporter. They want to come in and arrest me, take me to a jailhouse and make me take a fingerprint and confess whether or not I said Trump should shoot a reporter. That's not what I said. I said Trump told y'all that if he stepped out on Fifth Avenue and shot someone, he wouldn't lose one supporter. So why y'all thinking now that he's going to lose this base because of Nick Fuentes and Ye or Kanye? Anyway, a little bit more, all that serious, but on a little bit more sober tone, I think. Here's what I believe, and this is not my spreading disinformation. I believe Trump is preparing for war with the word that Dave Chappelle said you should never use the two words together, but I'm going to take a chance and use it here today. I believe Trump is preparing for war with the Jews. I do. Elder Smith sent me a note the other day and said that the Israelites, those blind mice, were out there marching out there in Brooklyn the other day, supporting that boy Kyrie Irving, that played for the Brooklyn Nets. That they were the Israelites, because they've been fighting with the Jews, saying that the Jews are not the real Jews. They stole their identity, which is ridiculous. This is the craziest thing I've seen in my life. Israelite, you got to be out your crazy mind to be an Israelite, believing that the Jews stole your identity. Anyway, but I think that I believe this, that I think Trump see in the total scheme. Now, this is just a part of his comeback. It's just a part of what he's going to do, because Trump is not going off the world stage. I think he sees as a part of that he's going to have a war with the Jews. And I think Kanye West and Nick Fuentes are just two young generals that he's going to use along with a whole lot of. Remember when back, 4 or 5 years ago, when they marched through Charlottesville saying the Jews will not replace us? I see a war specifically with the Jews and Trump's base, and Trump has made the decision that it's now to come out, and I think that he had lunch with a couple of generals, dinner with a couple of generals, General Nick Fuentes and General Kanye West. That's what I believe. I don't have to be right. I always am, but I don't have to. I think these are two of Trump's generals. I think Trump's seeing the larger scheme of things that he's going to have to go to war with the Jews. And by the way, there's no love lost, and I'm going to use this term. I'm using it affectionately, but I want to use it as I want to use it, because it makes sure that I'm identifying the right people, that I'm not somehow another identifying liberals or these fascists or these leftists or these Democrats. I want to make sure I'm not identifying any of them. But there's not been a love loss over the last 100 years between the Jews and the rednecks. I use the term redneck. Both of that, the term the Jews, according to Dave Chappelle, could be very dangerous. I could lose my career by saying the Jews. I'm going to take a chance. That's what Dave Chappelle said. And then the rednecks. Well, people could get mad with me calling people rednecks. Well, they are rednecks. Anybody, they're rednecks. Anyway. But there's been no love loss. By the way, a lot of rednecks are my friends. You ever see that? Well, both black people. I have a lot of black people as my friends. Well, hell, I have a lot of rednecks. Oh, I got rednecks down in West Virginia. Actually, where rednecks first came from, by the way. They used to wear red handkerchief around their neck. But you don't want the history lesson here today. But I believe that there's a coming war between these two groups. And what we saw in Charlottesville was, what they tried to say in Charlottesville is that we're ready to go to war. And I think Trump has made the decision, well, I'm gonna have them as a part of my army to rule America. That's what and they're certainly having. This has been a long time coming. By that I mean it didn't take Trump to stir up the spirit of war against the Jews by the boys down in Dixieland. It didn't take. That was there before Trump. I think what Trump has said now is that he's going to align himself with that. So with that spirit. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted, and please don't algorithm me and say that I was cursing or that I'm an anti-Semite. I'm not. I'm a Zionist. That's right. My Jewish brothers are my Jewish brothers. Jesus was a Jew. I'm not a hater of the Jew or the redneck. Both of them are my friends. And so they may want to consult me for counsel. At any rate, everybody, I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I got a whole lot more to talk about. I got to talk about that war going over there in Ukraine. We need to know about that. And, I'm going to talk to you also about the 4 house Negroes. I'll be right back. Let me just say this. I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm not a Democrat. Definitely ain't that. I'm not a Republican. Sure enough, stomped on ain't that. I'm not a liberal. Ain't gonna never be. And I'm not a conservative. I'm not that. I'm not a red boy or a blue boy. I'm the Lord's servant. Listen, I'm not here in support of Joe Biden and Camelback ain't Black Harris. The last thing on the planet Earth would be I'd be supporting them. I'm not. I don't have anything kind to say about them. I'm not here in support of Trump or any of the Trump supporters. I'm the Lord's servant. I ain't on nobody's side. I'm on the Lord's side. Let's be clear. All right? They'll be calling me a Biden supporter and I done flipped the wig and this, that, and the other. I did endorse Trump. I'll admit that. I did, but not now.
And as of right now, you are a dangerous man. You've got a master's degree in theology and truth. And it's not to say that they had it all figured out, but you have a master's degree in truth. They want you silent. If they can do it one way, get you diabetes, get you cancer, and get you to die off.
You think they'd try that?
Pardon?
You think they would try injecting me with cancer or diabetes or something of that nature?
Well, that's eventually how they want you to fall off. They don't want to get caught pulling too many bodies out of a certain area at one time. That's why they're setting up the generation gaps so one generation can't communicate with the other.
Maro mihitsy olo miteny. Maro zany le olo miteny fa misy sasany miteny izy zanakanahy lera za tsy mahavoataizany mihitsy. De eka oa, fanjara koa izy ty fa de fa tezaiko foana fa ataoko zay mahabe anazy.
It is a belief that a cleft can be a curse, so often even from when they're born, they are rejected children.
Efa voateraka izy, efa hitany ma izy nisy problème. De izy niteny tsy zanako, hoe mitaranaka anay tsisy an'io. De izy bokoa lasa, de izy taravaviko amizay nzao nanampinampy anakaty.
If we can change her life early, when she's still young, then she can just live a normal life and be a normal person, and it will make a massive difference to her whole life. It's not just the physical appearance, it's being able to eat and also speech.
Mety gaga donc olo mahita anazy amizao io.
This is about really changing people's lives. It's not just a few individuals, it's individuals that make up communities. They can be re-established in their village a lot easier when they look more normal.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. So what does that mean? It's time to purchase your Christmas gifts from BetheliteMarketplace.org, where we have fine china, beautiful glassware, unique dishes and vases, musical instruments, jewelry that is sure to make you dazzle, wonderful apparel, and so much more. So, hurry today and place your order and enjoy a 50% off for a limited time. 'Tis the season to purchase your gifts from Bethelite Marketplace. Call 877-777-0734 and place your order today.
All right, under normal circumstances, I would not make a comment about the war in Ukraine, but I want to give all you biblical people, those of you who are aligned with the Word of God, I want to give you a heads up on the war in Ukraine and what's happening, that is going to cause a global famine, and it's also going to cause America to lose its independence. To use a phrase, America's going to have to lift up her skirt to Saudi Arabia and also to Argentina, because Vladimir Putin is controlling the flow of oil into Europe and the flow of grain into Africa. And one of my concerns is that a lot of Africans are going to die, if they are not dying already, because Ukraine was the bread basket of that part of the world. And that grain is not going out to Africa on those ships as it should be going. But I want to read from Matthew's Gospel, chapter 24, verse 7, to show you that Jesus prophesied this. And I want to somehow or another, to show my love, intervene on behalf of the Africans, because you're going to see Africans in the next month dying because of they don't have food, they don't have grain, they don't have bread, and of course, as I said before, Putin is controlling the energy as well. But Mr. Engineer, if you bring up Matthew's Gospel, chapter 24, verse 7, Jesus prophesied that nation shall rise against nation, and nothing is more concrete, visible of that than the Ukraine and Russia, which really, as far as Putin is concerned, Ukraine is Russia. And then the kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines. And that's what's concerning me, that there are going to be famines in Africa because Putin is not going to let that grain, and Africans are going to die by the millions as this war goes on. And, if that verse wasn't there, you would hear me on my soapbox saying they ought to have a ceasefire. Putin and Zelensky ought to call for a ceasefire. All those young boys are being killed. Those young mothers are losing their sons in Russia like you won't believe. And Putin has not penetrated the way he wants to. So there ought to be a ceasefire. But I can't do that. And you say, well, Pastor Man, I don't understand that. What kind of God you serve? I don't. You listen. I can't call for it. My personal feelings. There should be a ceasefire, and somehow or another, Russia and Zelensky ought to find a way to save face. But I can't do that because Jesus said it's going to happen. Now, it's also happening here in America. I was just talking a few moments ago about the oncoming, what I believe, the war between the Jews and the rednecks, which is going to be an ancillary part of what's going on in terms of the whole political scheme of where Trump is going to go and what Trump is going to do. Tribulation Trump, as I said. And they're going to be nation against nation. They're going to be the Jewish people fighting the rednecks, here in America. And the so-called, I don't know you would call Trump's base conservative, but definitely the right with the left, we're going to see the same thing. And check this out as well, is that if you may have noticed now the last 4 or 5 days, there have been multitudinous protest riots in Hangzhou, Shanghai, Beijing, and several other major Chinese cities with 10 million people or more, calling for Xi Jinping to step down and for the easing of the COVID restrictions in China. And they've been ongoing 24 hours, 24/7. Why is it that the Chinese people, who are not afraid of their communist leader, Mao Zedong, who killed 60 million of them, why are they not afraid of Xi Jinping now? Well, I'll tell you why. They're not afraid of Xi Jinping now because Putin now holds the pretty much the life of most people in Europe in his hands. But he's not been able to penetrate Ukraine the way he wants. But the Chinese people now, through political understanding, now is the time to strike again, because Xi Jinping cannot wage war against his own people now. He can't do it the way Mao Zedong did it, 100 years ago. He can't do that now because of the war in Ukraine. And though he wants to take Taiwan, his hands are tied right now. And you may see a coup. I remember distinctively seeing that young man stand in front of that tank in Tiananmen Square going back 20 years ago. Y'all remember that? What we see now is nation against nation, kingdom. We see the prophecy of the Lord Jesus Christ as plain as the nose on your face. It's there. Oh, it's there. And it's the war in Ukraine that's going to keep Xi Jinping from making any moves right now. And right now, you've got millions of Chinese people, more than the Chinese army. And I don't know if the Chinese army is going to come out against its own people. We're in the midst of the prophecy, everybody. We're in the midst of the prophecy of nation against nation. And with China and Russia is Gog and Magog from the book of Revelation. So it's important that we understand where we are and that we keep a close eye on global situations. And as we see now, fomenting a war between certain Americans and the Jews. And the thing I find interesting is that I don't know if Kyrie Irving has repented the way that boy Adam, whoever he is, a National Basketball Association leader. I know that Kanye hasn't. Kanye doubled down. They've taken all his money though. They've made him broke and poor as Job's turkey. But I don't know if if Irving has Kyrie Irving. You see now, this is you. I mean, you wouldn't have thought of this that. And a whole lot of these young black people are going to step out and join with white folk to fight the Jews. And Trump is at the center of all of this. But on the other hand, in the East, we've got now the Chinese raising up themselves and saying to Xi Jinping, we want you out of office. He was just elected for a lifetime term just a month ago. I mean, talk about the turn of events, how quickly a man's fortunes can change. And then what we see happening, I'm concerned about people in Europe freezing and being cold and not having enough food there because, and now Joe Biden, my time, is now allowing Chevron, that minor oil company, to pump oil, to drill for oil in Argentina now. So, he went over there to Saudi Arabia the other day and did a fist bump with MSB after he brutally murdered and hacked up Jamal Khashoggi. Jamal Khashoggi went over there, thought he was going to have a meeting over there in, it was in Turkey. And those Muslims over there, MSB, Mohammed MSB, that's good enough. He went over there and Joe Biden said he was going to call the Saudi Arabians, going to make them, they are pariah. He said that when he was on the campaign trail. But realizing now that Trump is going to dry up the oil and people all over Europe are going to freeze, in America as well, he went over there and lifted up his skirt and fist bumped with MSB. So it's MBS. Mohammed bin Salam. It's MBS. Let me get it right. Mohammed bin Salam, that's his name. That's who he is. All right, finally we get that right. But at any rate, so we're looking at a global crisis that's only going to intensify. By February of this year, I don't know if you'll recognize America. I don't know if you will. But I'm just telling you, I'm not promoting any of this. Don't anybody call the algorithm. People say Pastor Man is promoting. I'm not promoting any of this. I'm just giving you an insight that we're looking at wars in America, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. We're looking at white people fighting Jews, and we're looking at black people joining with white people to fight against the Jews. You see? And Trump's going to be at the center of it. And Jesus prophesied it. You're going to see famines and pestilence. You're going to see people dying in Africa. At any rate, everybody, listen, let me just turn the corner here for just a second. I want to let you know that the protest, the foreclosure that's against us is grievous. These people do not want to lose. The courts, the crooked lawyers, the Mellon Bank, they don't want to lose. And so we're continuing our protest. And for those of you who are just coming on, we didn't take a mortgage from Mellon Bank for $3 million and then pay them back. No, this got started with a water and sewer charge 20 years ago that is now mushroomed into $3 million because of the shenanigans of the judges and the lawyers. Over $3 million of what we allegedly owes, and they have gone to foreclose our church. Over $3 million is all interest, not principal. So let's be clear about that. We didn't borrow money and didn't pay it. This is a tax on a tax-exempt church. We'll come back to that. But we're continuing our protest. And what we're going to do is that we're going back to Mellon Bank, and I'm not going to give the dates, but we're going to put together a platform on which we can have a Christmas tree. And we're going to have a Christmas tree on the platform with Christmas lights on it. And then we have, for Mellon Bank, Mr. Engineer, do we have the if you will, Warren Buffett Mellon Bank? We're also going to put on this platform this 9-foot poster. This thing is 9 feet tall. We're going to put that also on a wagon type of platform and then put a Christmas tree beside it. And I'll be there talking about how here it is Christmas and these people are foreclosing, putting us in the street. But also I want to point out that Warren Buffett has $95 billion on deposit in the Mellon Bank, and he has not done anything to stop the foreclosure of our church. And so we're going to put him as a big rat. So we want to be able to do that. We also want to be able to, I got some play money here. This is play money. This ain't real money. It looks real. It looks real. Try to pass up at all, see what happens. We're gonna get on that platform with the Christmas tree, the Christmas wreath, and I'm gonna be down with my robe on. I'm gonna have other people down there with me in front of the Mellon Bank at 240 Greenwich Street, and we're gonna have Warren Buffett's picture. We're gonna have $3 million in play money also on the platform. So it's going to be a theatrical sight to see what we're going to do. But I want you to be able to know that. And now we're going to do it in front of the Mellon Bank, but we're also going to do it in front of the Madison Avenue Baptist Church, the alleged Reverend Susan Sparks. We're going to do the exact same thing with a Christmas tree, with a 9-foot poster with her picture on it. In front of her church, and we're going to get out there and sing Christmas carols while they're worshiping on the Sunday morning. We're going to go down there, along with the $3 million. So this is going to be a big production. Now, I'm not going to need as many people as I had last time. This is going to be a big, big, big production in front of the Mellon Bank and in front of the Madison Avenue Baptist Church with this big sign. We got her face on a rat. And we're going to have the Christmas tree, and we're going to be talking about how it's Christmas, and they're foreclosing our church, throwing children in the street during the Christmas season. How ugly that is. That's what we're going to do with her. And then, of course, we're going to have a separate, on that same platform, a poster of Cheryl Dudley, who's the regional manager of American Baptist Churches here in New York City. We're going to have her on a rat. So we're going to have both Cheryl Dudley and Susan Sparks on the same platform with the Christmas tree, with all the money. It's going to be a major production. Now, I'm not giving out the dates that we're going to do this, but it's going to be a major production of demonstrating. We're going to continue our protests as well. And then finally, before Christmas, all this is going to happen before Christmas, we're going to also go down to Smith & Walensky, and where Warren Buffett says that Smith & Walensky is his favorite restaurant. Well, we're going to stand across the street from Smith & Walensky, where we were last October. And we're going to have a big Christmas tree, and we're going to have this poster, this 9-foot poster with Warren Buffett on a rat. And we're going to sing Christmas carols at the Smith & Walensky. This is going to be a major production. Probably a whole lot of folk going to want to volunteer to be a part of this. But let me say this, we have to fight. As I said, at the worship on Saturday, these people, they fear me. They are afraid of the fact that ain't nobody bought me off. They're afraid of the truth that I speak. It isn't me they're afraid of. They're afraid of the truth that I speak. And they know that if I win, we win everything. I will run over the rest of this development, the rest of this banking, the rest of these pension-those Negroes like a lawnmower on a fresh lawn. They know that. So we have got to fight. And it may come down to the last round. I'm going to tell you this. That first of all, I'm not blaming these people for anything. I've picked this battle. I asked God for this anointing. I don't want you to pity me. I'm not blaming them. This is a David and Goliath fight. I could have long since capitulated. I could be running around with Trump and one of his advisors. I could be running around with the highfalutin people. I could do that. I could be running around with all the pension-those Negroes. I could have long said, no, I picked this battle. I'm not blaming anybody. I picked this fight. Now, they were there, but I'm David and they're Goliath. And we're going in front of Mellon Bank, and we're not going to stop. We're not going to stop. But I want everybody to know that my intensity to fight, and I'm asking you to sacrifice everything that you are and everything that you ever will be. I'm asking you to make the greatest sacrifice of your life to support us. Now, you may be living down in some place in Alabama or out there in Los Angeles somewhere, but you can support us financially and prayerfully and forsaking all others until we get our church free of the claws of the Mellon Bank. Don't you stop praying and don't stop giving. Don't stop it. Please listen to me. If you just listen to me, But my friend, this is going to be a fight to the death. This is a war of nation against nation. This is going to be, I call Trump and Obama nation against nation, but I call the Outlaw Church as kingdom against the kingdom of Mammon and Mellon Bank in America, and the pension-those Negroes, house Negroes, and the LGBTQ. This is kingdom against kingdom. Please hear that. Please hear this. Please hear. This fight is, my friends, this is a biblical proportion. What I'm trying to say. You hear my heart. Just ask the Lord to let you see my heart, and you'll see how what this is all about. But I like the idea of the Christmas tree. We're going to have a 9-foot tall Christmas tree on the thing that we can roll it back and forth, right? All this with Christmas lights in front of the Mellon Bank, in front of Madison Avenue Church, as Cheryl Dudley woman, that Susan Sparks said to me the other day when I was down there. She said, "Well, I'm getting ready. To have my family now. Is family is family a gaslighting word that only the LGBTQ use? I notice, a lot of LGBTQ are talking, this is my family, we family. Is that gaslighting the rest of us? LGBTQ gaslighting us? Anyway, so she said, well, Pastor, I understand your problem. I'd like to arrange that conversation for you to meet with Cheryl Dudley. But right now, my family and we're getting ready to have worship. And so we just have to leave you out here. And she, what this woman said to me? You're welcome to stay on the sidewalk. Rather than this witch telling me, well, come on in the church and sit down. She said, you're welcome to stay on the sidewalk, but I'm going in to take care of my family. I do declare before God and 7 other righteous men. She told us, you're welcome to stay on the sidewalk, but not in our church. At any rate, everybody, pray for me. Pray for us. Don't pity me now. Don't pity me. And you're going to hear about this in the news. It's going to get uglier. This fight of kingdom of Outlaw against the kingdom of Mellon Bank, the LGBTQ, the pension-those Negro, it's going to get ugly. Pray for me. Don't desert me. I need your financial help. You know I need your money. You know I need the money. We just spent over $600,000 in legal expenses. You know I need your financial help. You know I do. All right. Okay, Mr. Engineer. All right, everybody. I'm James David Manning. I'm the Lord's servant, and I'm fighting for his kingdom. Outlaw! That's what God said.
I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. But I want to say this, and though I have used a humorous spirit here today, I'm very serious. And everything I've said to you is the absolute truth. It's a truth that you've not heard. And it's a truth that is very risky for me to say, very risky. But I thought that you were worth knowing this. And so I said it anyway. The man called me the other day and told me there's a target on my back, that they're going to get me. Either they're going to hit me with so many lawsuits that I won't have money to afford the lawyers, or they're going to get a doctor to inject me with something and cause me to be mentally unstable, try to take away my dignity. What he did say is that they're not going to put me in jail. I thought that was interesting, that doesn't profit them anything. And if they did, I'd turn the jails out. I'd turn the jails into churches if that's what they did, the prisons. But he said there's a target on my back and that they don't like the fact that I preach the Bible, in the Old Testament in particular. I'll say this, and I pray that everyone would understand my heart. I don't know if the Shemites are concerned that I'm telling the Hamites that they need to read the Old Testament. I don't know that to be true, but I'm raising some hypotheses here today, and I'm going to let y'all go. I've used up my 7 minutes, and I know it, and I thank you for your very generous spirit. But I'm teaching the truth about the Old Testament. And the Shemites have become dominant in world economics because of that Old Testament. That's how come they become so powerful, because of that, not the New Testament, it's that Old Testament that has made them dominant in economics globally, everywhere, even over every type of government, whether it be autocrat, Democrat, a totalitarian, a dictator, don't matter. They got the money. And I'm not saying this in a facetious, anti-Semitic way. I'm a Zionist. By that I mean, I believe Jesus was a Jew. I've been to Israel. And I've kissed the ground. I believe all that land was given to the Jews. I'm a Zionist. I'm not an anti-Semite. No, I'm not. I used to have a lot of Jewish friends. I don't know what happened to them. But I can tell you this. I can tell you this, that the issue here is that I'm teaching Hamite people that they can be just as powerful economically if they'll let me teach them the Old Testament. That's a threat to the Shemite nation. That's a threat to their economic power, because they know if they grab hold of this word of God, Allah and the law, and me as their teacher, they know, the Jewish people know, and I'm not an anti-Semite, I love my Jewish brothers, but they know if I can open up the minds and the woolly heads of the Hamite, that's the black man, and teach them the Old Testament, they're going to have power, money power. And the Japheth too, because I got a lot of Japheth people as members of Allah. I can bring along the Japheth and the Hamites into the power of the Old Testament. You know, the man said they're going to try to take me down. They're going to try to get a doctor to inject me with something, or, you know, call me to be mentally unstable, inject me with 500 cc's of insulin dose so that I become a vegetable. I won't know my name, my address, or what day of the week it is. He said they. You heard him say it. I'm not being anti-Semitic. I'm not being racist, because it ain't about race. It's about the money. In the Old Testament, there's money in the Old Testament. There's money in the Old Testament. There's property, there's land, there's development, there's ownership. In the Old Testament, there's money in that Old Testament. There's money in that Old Testament. God knows there's plenty of money in that Old Testament. There's money in that Sabbath. There's money in that first fruit. There's money in that tithe. There's money in the Old Testament. There's money. There's money. And people running around and talking about we don't need the Old Testament no more. The Lord's going to pray that we prosper and be in health. No. So I don't know that that's what's happening to me. But I want you to digest these things I've said, because they're all true. And I've told them to you so we can learn how to protect ourselves. I'm James David Manning, everybody. I'm the Lord's servant. Well, listen, everybody, you know, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, as you can very well know. We want to thank Sister Charlene McMillan for her super generous spirit
to us, giving us over $1 million worth of antiques, furnishings, paintings, jewelry, clothing, housewares. We just want to thank her. That's one of the great women of our times, Sister Charlene McMillan. We bless the Lord for her. Can I ask you to do something? Can I ask you to do something? I need to sell at least or move at least $20,000 of the merchandise on the Bethelite Marketplace within the next 10 days. I'm going to ask you. I normally ask you for offerings. The Bible gives me the authority to do that. And I don't need the whole $20,000 from you. I just need you to go to the Bethelite Marketplace. If you see something and you like it, go ahead and buy it. And if you are a tithing member, now, if you are a tithing member of the church, you can just put a few dollars down on it and pay the shipping costs. So for instance, if you order a sofa, you order some china, or you order some furnishings or painting, we got to ship it. And let's say it costs $100 or $200. You can put a part of that money down on it and pay the shipping costs, and you can pay us at the beginning of the year after the Christmas season is over with. But I'm in a position right now, I want you to hear my heart. I'm in a position right now where I need to move at least $20,000 worth of that merchandise that's on the Bethelite Marketplace, and I need to do it within the next 10 days. Will you help me? Will you help me? Now, you're going to buy gifts anyway. You know, let me say this to you. Y'all are out there in them shopping malls, and this is Cyber Monday right now, and they're telling me that y'all are going to spend $11 billion. Is it $11 billion? Yeah, $11 billion today shopping. And you're going to spend it all with the people that are trying to hurt us. You're going to spend it with people that are invested in Mellon Bank, J.P. Morgan Chase. You're going to spend it with the people that create all the crime, sell all the drugs, and you're going to spend your money with them rather than spending it with me at the Bethelite Marketplace. Now, I want you to listen to me. By the way, I thank God for all of y'all that have given, those that have prayed. Many of y'all are on the giving line. I want to give a great shout out to Goldfinger and everybody else giving. And while I'm asking you to buy something also, if you can just throw some extra chunks of money at us right now, if it's, you know, or if you can send us some jewelry or a car or some land, we'll take it. But right now, I need to move $20,000 worth off that Bethelite Marketplace in the next 10 days. Will you help me? Will you help me? And you need to understand, when you spend that money with them stores out there, these people aren't for you. These are major corporations. You spend money with Walmart. These are major corporations that control the blood flow of the world. And you ignore me. We have an issue of foreclosure here. Don't do that. Don't ignore me. Now, I want to thank everybody who's given. I want to thank everybody who's prayed, everybody who's supported. But you heard me talk about Bethelite Marketplace. You went there, you saw some items, but you didn't buy anything. I'm asking now. You are giving all your money and support to the very people that are trying to foreclose our church. That's why I tried to tell that Cheryl Dudley woman. The American Baptist churches are sending all that money to the Mellon Bank, and the Mellon Bank are trying to foreclose our church. Don't you be the same way. And don't be hard-hearted on me, okay? Don't be hard-hearted on me. Come on now. If you know you're going to spend it, why spend it with the enemy when you can help God's people? All right. I'm James David Manning, everybody, the Bethelite Marketplace. I don't know if we had the logo, but you know about the Bethelite Marketplace. Just go online, the Bethelite Marketplace. All right, and you'll see it. You'll see it. The Mr. Engineer, do we have the Bethlehem Marketplace ad? Go ahead, run this. Here it is right now.
I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. Well, if you have funds to give Christmas gift, go to the Bethlehem Marketplace and do some shopping there at the Bethlehem Marketplace and give people gifts from that very, very exclusive website that we have, where you can give people some really, really classy antiques and gifts and stuff that just have a lot of meaning to it, rather than buying somebody a sweater or a pair of socks, or an umbrella, or giving them whatever it is, give them one of these very special gifts we have at the Bethlehem Marketplace, right? And the other thing is that we have a lot of china, a lot of tea sets, and a lot of beautiful pewter and bowls and glasses, and just a lot of beautiful stuff, antiques. And you should buy something just to decorate. Look at those spoons and those pewters. You could buy that collection of pewter cups, or that coffee place, or those spoons, and for Thanksgiving. And really bring the people over, rather than drinking out those glasses you've been drinking out of those mayonnaise jars. Y'all don't know what I'm talking. People don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, but imagine setting your Thanksgiving table with those beautiful pewter and that beautiful silverware there, right? And it'll just be a beautiful thing. Oh, this is really nice. And we have beautiful platters and a lot of beautiful decorative bowls. Go to the Bethlehem Marketplace. Go to the Bethlehem Marketplace for your shopping for Thanksgiving, for your dinner table, and for Christmas. Do that. And not only will you be a blessing by giving somebody something that's really meaningful, that will be around for a while. You give somebody a sweater or a pair of socks, they wear it once, and they'll take it back to the store and change it and get the money, and you won't even know that's what they did. But this is something that can be in family heirloom. You follow? Don't discount the Bethlehem Marketplace. Go ahead now and do some shopping there, and have a beautiful Thanksgiving. Do some shopping, and now some of those stuff has already been sold, but you'll find out, and you'll have give somebody a beautiful gift, some beautiful jewelry. By the way, look for those women who are on our mailing list outside of New York City and New Jersey. You're going to get, in about a week or so, 2 weeks, you're going to get a beautiful necklace called the Mercy and Truth necklace. But my friends, use the Bethlehem Marketplace. That beautiful pewter set of cups will be a great place. You put a little wine in it, put some, iced tea or something in it, Oh, I say you don't drink wine. Okay, all right, okay. Well, Jesus did. Anyway, so this is just some beautiful stuff to make your Thanksgiving dinner, and surely do your Christmas shopping. You'll catch two birds with one net. One is that you'll have a priceless gift that will last for hundreds of years, and you'll also help us fight the foreclosure that is beaming down on us every day as they're trying to take our building. Look at all that beautiful jewelry. That is some really beautiful stuff, really beautiful stones, and some great artwork to that. Use the Bethlehem Marketplace. Go to our website, click into the Bethlehem Marketplace, and you'll be there. All right.
Hi, come in. Since the pandemic, I haven't had any house guests, so I decided to invite a couple of friends over. And guess what? They love the way I've redecorated. What's my secret? Bethlehem Marketplace. They have wonderful items such as wall decor and fine china. So if you want to be the talk of the town, go to Bethlehem Marketplace and hurry.
Come to Bethlehem Marketplace, the one-stop shopping dream.
All right, so there you have it, my friend. And that's, people say, where are you doing your Christmas shopping? Well, you tell them I'm doing my Christmas shopping at Bethlehem Marketplace. That firebrand preacher up there in Harlem, New York City. And he's got over $1 million worth of products. So I'm going to buy something from him, and I'm going to give it to everybody. I'm going to buy something for my family, my friend. He got something for everybody. That firebrand preacher. Y'all that preacher Manning up there in Harlem? Well, I ain't going to Walmart. I'm going to shop online with my friend, Pastor Manning. All right. Okay, listen, friend, I want to, I tell you that I have an assignment that's dangerous because I'm telling the truth to people who are liars to themselves, liars to God. Now, I don't say that because I'm mean or angry, but I say it because I love my people. I love all God's people. I love all y'all. But I have to tell the truth. I've been assigned by God to tell the truth to people that lie. They even have lied to God. They have. They lie to themselves every day. And they got liars as leaders. And so I'm going to let you hear something I said on Saturday. And by the way, I want to invite y'all. We had a couple thousand people online yesterday. Listen to a message I preached on Saturday. So go ahead. We're glad to see the increase. Mr. Engineer, run that clip from Saturday. Failure, if you don't mind. Okay. Turn a corner here for just a second. The failure in the house Negro worship. That is to say that Hamites in particular, and some Shemites and Japheth people too, worship the house Negro. Now, if you understand that worship of the house Negro, in other words, they think that's our deliverance. They're waiting for some house Negro to rise to a level of power that will deliver them. It's worship. They're waiting for some house Negro to rise, governor, mayor, president, king, and going to deliver the people. House Negro deliver. House Negro worship is everywhere among Hamites. A few Japheth people and Shemites as well. Right now, I taught in the Manning Report that there are 4 major cities in America, all now led by a house Negro. Mr. Engineer Sylvester Turner, who's the mayor of the 4th largest city in America, Houston. I'm going to say more about that in just a moment. Leave that up there, Mr. Engineer. Then, of course, you got Lori Lightfoot, who's the mayor of Chicago, 3rd largest city, house Negro. And then you got, of course, the Karen Bass, the recently elected mayor of Los Angeles, 2nd largest city in America. Then you got Pharaoh Eric Adams, mayor of the city of New York. These 4 are the house Negroes of the 4th largest city in all of America. There are no cities larger than those 4, and they're led by house Negroes. You know why? Because Negroes think that worship of house Negroes somehow or another going to deliver them. They're not looking to God. They're not calling. They're not waiting on the return of Jesus. They're waiting on the next election for their deliverance. That's what they're waiting for. Now, these house Negroes that you see there now, ain't no deliverance in them. And I'm going to talk about that in another way in just a moment. I think that the house Negro has a 300-year tradition. And by that I mean, for the first 150 years, the house Negro, y'all stand up for a moment. I might be talking about some of your relatives. Or I might be listening in on one of your conversations you had last week. So you stand up, that way you'll have a place to get knocked down to. See, the house Negro phenomenon, tradition, is 300 years running. Since Hamites have been here in America the last 300 years. The first 150 years, the field Negro hated the house Negro. See, the field Negro, everybody started out as field Negroes. And then the house Negro got slick enough to find out how to con the boss man into letting him come in the house and get out the field. And so he put on a nice suit, was able to serve the master, and had influence. Slept in a room off from the regular the big house. Now the field Negro, he was always out there in the field, and didn't have the best of food. You know the idea. You know the history of that. And so he was hated by the field Negroes, hated the house Negroes. Then after slavery, everybody thought, well,
This politician named Abraham Lincoln, he has delivered us. Slavery is over with. So all that is over with now. So the house Negro in the field, nobody's in the field no more. Amen. But the house Negro kept on trying. Then the field Negro said, wait a minute, all of us can be house Negroes now. Wait a minute. Ain't no fields no more. We all can be house Negroes. Y'all take your seats. So the last 150 years, the whole worshiping strategy has been who can be the biggest and best house Negro. We're talking about deliverance. Now, I don't mean this to be a sermon just about black folk, but I'm trying to get somewhere. So anybody who isn't Hamite, please spare me the opportunity to teach you. I'm going to come back around in just a moment. But I have to be able to say this because I have to defend Atla. It wasn't me that chose Harlem. It wasn't me that chose Hamites. It was God. I'm just the messenger. But the message is for everybody. So the house Negro, everybody said, we're all going to be house Negroes. Now nobody's in the field. People started moving off the farms into Chicago, into New York, from Houston all the way west to Los Angeles, getting out them fields and getting in the cities. Because we can all be house Negroes now. At least that's what it was thought. In Houston, where Sylvester Turner is what I call the citadel of poverty in the modern day plantation, Houston, Texas, if you've ever been there. In Chicago, I call that the Mecca of death of black youth. You're a young man, you want to die? Commit suicide, just go to Chicago. They'll kill you. And LA, I call the shrine of homelessness where Karen Bass is. Yeah. And New York is the capital of disgrace and economic outrage. People lost Harlem. That don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. It'd be like the Catholics moved into Mecca and took over Mecca. Black people lost Harlem. That's the craziest thing you ever want to hear in your life. How can they do that? I mean, how can they do that? How can the Muslims let the Catholics move in and take over Mecca? That's what it's like. That you lost Harlem. Why? Because Harlem was like being in the field. Moving to New Jersey, moving to Westchester County, moving to Long Island was like moving in with the house Negro, with the white man, becoming a house Negro. Yeah, let's get out of Harlem, get out the field.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. So what does that mean? It's time to purchase your Christmas gifts from BetheliteMarketplace.org, where we have fine china, beautiful glassware, unique dishes and vases, musical instruments, jewelry that is sure to make you dazzle, wonderful apparel,